Good evening, everybody. This is Fomoby Dick. Today is Monday, July 16th, 2018. Hope everybody had a wonderful Monday. Tonight, I am joined by Jaqueline and Cardiff of Crypto versus Metals. Pretty interesting project and brand that is growing right in front of us in the crypto space. And I think everybody is going to be very interested to see what it is that they are building. But if you guys want to say hello, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Glad you guys could join me tonight.
Glad to be here.
Yes, Yuki and the Goddess had something come up last minute, so they're not able to make it tonight. But we still can have a good talk, I think, and cover some cool subjects. So, as is typical, I usually have new guests share a little bit about themselves. Tell me, and everybody that's listening, how you got started in crypto, kind of what you see for the space, and just anything you want to share. So, Cardiff and Jaqueline, if you want to go ahead.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I'll let Cardiff go first.
All right, it's exciting times right now. I'd say we're at the bottom of the next exponential wave. We got started in crypto in 2015, about November, December, when we had just finished a year living in New York City, and essentially had gone through this big awakening period, more of a bubble popping or a face smashing. It was really a totally new world, New York City compared to Salt Lake City.
Or New Mexico.
Or Los Lunas.
I'm from a small town with less than 10,000 people. So it was definitely a wake-up call.
Simply put, we saw corruption and a broken system. And that really got us out of New York. We pulled out credit card debt just to get out of New York. And realized the inherent truth that we pulled away from New York was that people are slaves without chains. And I termed it monetary slavery. People are slaves to money. You see it as more prevalent in urban cities. The denser the city, the more people are competing in order to survive, because there's nothing growing naturally in the environment, and so people need to obtain money in order to purchase the imported goods. So, it became apparent when winter came around and people would die on the streets as suits would walk right by them because they couldn't afford shelter, even though New York is full of shelter. They're not full capacity on every building. It's really just it's a game, right? And so then we had to go down this journey of what is money. And to do that, we left New York and became gypsies. We found Bitcoin, and we knew that this was the decentralized currency that the government couldn't control. The government was, in fact, corrupt. And then we started learning about the Federal Reserve and the US dollar and all fiat currencies. We watched Mike Maloney's Hidden Secrets of Money. We learned from Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and we played the game Cash Flow, and we went on our own financial education that was a world different than the financial degree that I received in college. And really, it set me free. It set me financially free. We lived on $0 a day out the back of a truck and put our credit card debt into crypto. We found Bitcoin, then we saw Ethereum, and we learned what it was. And we realized the power back when it was going from $1 to $5 to 15, back down to 7, up to 20, down to 7. And then finally in 2017, up to, from 7 all the way up to 1,200. The truly miraculous year. And so during that time, we had traveled from Salt Lake City down to Las Vegas, over to California, over to New Mexico. We went off the grid.
We were living with a shaman who was a Reiki master and
learning on the mountainside.
Learning
oh man, that's cool.
skills.
Jackie cut open a goat.
Yeah, I learned how to skin a goat and suture because Cardiff.
I got bucked by a horse.
got bucked by a horse. So I had to, the person we were with, his name was Phil. He had Cardiff drink like 4 beers to sedate him. While he was, like, fainting.
I fainted. I came back, Jackie.
Oh, man.
And I was watching like 5-minute videos on YouTube how to suture wounds. So we laid him down on a table and I gave him 3 stitches and it healed pretty nicely. I was super proud of myself.
Well, and the true lucky situation of it all is that I had a mouth guard on. For some reason, like I didn't expect to go ride on a horse. I was actually wearing the mouth guard because I didn't want the marijuana smoke to stain my teeth that morning. And after going out, I got bucked by the horse. I realized, because it's a powerful horse. If I didn't have the mouth guard, I would be missing a few teeth.
Oh, no. Oh, that's a wild story. That, you guys have done some pretty amazing things just in that little excerpt of your life.
Yeah. Well, I'd say that was the most adventurous. I mean, before that, we were hometown. She just moved once to college, leave New Mexico into Salt Lake. And then ever since then, like May of last year, we settled down and really focused on building a business. And we've gone through an extreme learning curve just to figure out how to run a business, because there's so many things involved. There's so much you need to learn that, like going 4 years to a college is, you got to go to an Ivy League, just to stand a chance. It's really a lot involved, especially as things become more complex. Technology becomes the source of business endeavors for the most part. But yeah, that was the most adventurous. Now we're getting back into the educational side of things. So
very cool.
Yeah. The other thing was
to go from those two such opposite worlds. I guess the metropolitan New York to, like you said, living out of the back of a truck. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And we'll get back to it. It's just we're trying to build something really special so that we can go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the biggest thing for Cardiff and I was we always had this mentality that we didn't really want to work for anybody but ourselves. It's like the 9 to 5
was enslavement.
Stigma. Yeah, it was like enslavement to us, and we thought, well, we might as well, if we're going to work, we might as well work for our dreams and do what we want to do.
And we worked very hard.
Right. So the opportunity that we had to like live out of the back of a truck and just travel to wherever we wanted to go. I mean, we had the internet basically to guide us. It's just like, it's a miracle of how many amazing things you can find on the internet. Like
on 2-speed.
Right, on 2-speed. And like I found websites like couch surfing where you can like go to like different cities. And
it's Airbnb for free.
Yeah, it's Airbnb for free.
Cool.
And, like, we would meet these interesting people. Like we actually stayed with someone in Amsterdam using this app, and then we went on this crazy journey.
Oh, we attended, during this time we attended Steam Fest. It was actually the end of our journey. Is Steam started becoming big. I started connecting on the platform, and then got essentially a big like by the the whales in the community. If they like your stuff, you've got bank and Steam, and that essentially pushed us into Amsterdam. We made a one-way trip. Left on election day, didn't know who was going to win, Hillary or Trump. And like, found out on the plane ride, like just barely taking off.
Right as we landed that Trump had won the election. So it was really interesting. And then we landed and we basically had like 2 days set where we were going to stay with someone, and then we had no plan. And then we went to this festival and someone like graciously welcomed us into their home, and we lived with them for like a week, and then they introduced us to someone else, and then we lived with them for like a month, and then from there we like went to Portugal, and then it was really insane before we came back like around Christmas time. So cryptocurrency has really allowed us to do so many amazing things, and I feel like it like this is
It's
a
liberation.
gateway. Yes, it's liberating
for the
many
world.
people.
I just had a conversation last night with an Egyptian who's afraid of cryptocurrencies, but understands that it's inevitably going to, lead to the liberation of the people from the tyranny of the government. And he actually had worked on Bitcoin projects back in 2015. So he had the ability to really take part in the big run. And he said that he never owned cryptocurrency. And so I told him about MetaMask. And just like that, I mean, you can have Ethereum on your browser and you can transact anywhere in the world. It's amazing.
Right. I think one of the biggest things is people are still kind of afraid of the space.
But we're now entering the stage. This is the time. It's like if ever there were a time to max out your credit cards and go all into crypto, it's right now.
Sell the liver, sell the kidneys.
Sell the wife and kids. Right? Put a loan on it. Seriously, I mean,
I would do that, but I might have to pay somebody to take my wife and kids off.
Well, see, then it's not really a loan. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. They're great. Yeah, I see it too. I think we have a long ways to go as far as the adoption rates stand, and I think that last year's kind of push into the mainstream spotlight is really the tipping of the tip of the iceberg, or however you want to put that.
People start seeing how to do it on the internet, how easy it is to do on the internet, and why. Once the truth really starts coming out, and if you have been listening, if you've been following Trump, and if you've been listening to Cliff High, you would see that the Great Awakening, the big Renaissance, this big movement, all the momentum, all this buildup is really leading to something absolutely magnificent from this fall to next spring. That's going to be this, like, sometime during this period or throughout the duration of that period, there's going to be the massive, like, the massive wave into crypto, and seeing it not only as something to be feared because only dark people do it, and more of a, oh my God, the government is actually that bad. The monetary system is actually that inferior. Oh, wow. I had no idea. Okay. I'll buy some. I'll buy some Bitcoin at, 30,000.
Now, Cardiff, I kind of think I have an idea of what Jackie thinks about this from our talk previously, but what do you feel as far as world events pushing that into happening? Do you see some sort of catastrophic financial event that causes this major wave of adoption, or what are your thoughts as far as that goes?
I see it happening the same way Bitcoin rose throughout 2017. We're going to have, like, right now is the period. Right now is the supple period where it's not declining anymore. We found our base. We just saw like a little wave rise up. It's going to slowly increase throughout probably the next month, right? The next couple of months, it'll rise and rise. The people who are all for it and have been watching it the whole time are saying, it's happening, time to get in quick before all the profits are gone, like, hurry. But, it won't really resonate with the masses until breaking news, Bear Stearns, or Douche Bank. Breaking news, the jail has, the indictments have now made their way to the hearing. You're now going to start seeing the political criminals, like, on C-SPAN, in the courtroom, testifying for the pedophilia that they were doing for decades, right? That type of stuff is all of a sudden we're going to see something like, wow, Monero and Pivx just popped today, and look at what happened in the news, right? We're going to start piecing things together. Little news pieces are going to correlate to crypto, but it's not going to be crypto like it was after Thanksgiving all the way through Christmas, until we have probably something to do with issuance of a new currency, like a gold-backed currency in the United States, or mass adoption by foreign countries, like completely dropping their currency It's like hyperinflation has taken off in this country, but they've also completely adopted Litecoin. You know, they've approved a couple networks and they're implementing the cryptocurrencies into their countries, right? Once countries and corporations, like another one will be, you know, something that we'll see, but not millions of people will see, will be like, you know, Amazon has now accepted Litecoin. Google has now accepted Litecoin as part of their payments. It's just, you know, something that shows up on a web page. It ends up in an article, but it's not, you know, on CNBC 3 times a day, maybe once a day, right? But we're going to get to the point where it's like November 2017 was, you know, 1/5, like 20% of where we're going to go. It's going to be huge, like tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people within, you know, days of each other are all going to be, you know, ringing around cryptocurrency terms, and it's going to vibrate on social media and in social events, and people are really going to just become obsessed with crypto. What is it? What is it? What is it? A lot of people are going to run into scams. They're not going to know what's going on. They're just going to feel the hype and the FOMO. And, you know, but with that will come a bigger stream of people who understand the revolution, the, you know, the truth, the movement to freedom and liberty. And, you know, it's going to be a progressive wave. That's gonna dwarf what we just went through.
I like it. I kind of feel the same.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to think that this is going to be a slow and steady process over the next, you know, decade or two. But then another part of me says that one major world event could propel this thing, you know, just in an unbelievable fashion. So.
It's going to be like a body of water. There's a big splash over in the corner of the lake. It ripples across the whole pond, but by the time it reaches, you know, a decent way through, it's basically nothing. Just little tremors here and there. But we're going to receive another wave that's going to, you know, make the waves even bigger. So the big world events are going to change things. They are going to move prices. Each one is going to have their own effect. As you remember, India removing their denominations of the bill last year.
Right, which actually did spike Bitcoin from, it was 900 at the time.
Over to thousands.
And they were buying it for 1,300. So that was like one of the first huge moves. And then you had Venezuela, which was in hyperinflation. And then they started purchasing Dash and then mining Bitcoin, and then you had the whole fiasco of the government jailing all of the miners because they were stealing energy from the government. And
then that finally led to, you know, money talks on the TV channel, on the mainstreams, a couple times a day. So
I recall those events pretty clearly last year.
Yeah. So I mean, we just finished the sell-off of the Mount Gox double robbery, actually, right? They had it stolen, and then they recovered funds, and then they had to sell it in order to give cash back to the people who are going to do what? They're going to have to go in and buy that crypto again.
Buy more.
Right.
It was a well thought out plan, wasn't it?
Depends on the perspective. Yeah. Yeah.
So now that we've kind of learned a little bit about you guys and saw, you know, heard what you guys have as far as views for long-term crypto, do you want to talk about setting targets as far as technical analysis goes?
Well, I honestly think, you know, we will not. This is bold, but I don't think we're going to drop below 6,000 again.
Oh, I don't really think so either, and I've kind of said that on the show several weeks ago, every week since. It just seems to me that we have the buying pressure and the demand at that level, and I don't see the reward for the bears to push it beyond that. I think there's too much risk and not enough reward for them to push us below 6,000. And I also see it from the perspective of we're $14,000 down from the top.
Yep.
I don't see, you know, what's another $1,000 or $2,000 when we're already 14,000 down. So that's kind of my view on that. I feel like we're headed back towards maybe a longer term bullish trend now. Looking, you know, at the chart, the daily chart, we have a pretty solid inverse head and shoulders setting up. I don't know if you guys pay much attention to the charts as far as that goes.
Yeah, I did see head and shoulders. It also kind of a pennant, maybe a wedge as well.
Well, do you want to pull up one of the charts so we can go over it?
But also the total market cap, I think, reached a double bottom. Slightly different than the Bitcoin chart.
The global market cap?
Mm-hmm.
Should be sharing my screen now.
Yep.
So let's see if I can draw this head and shoulders here. So we've got.
Gosh, yes, I see. Well, it is definitely a leveling out. No question about that. And wow, that is a
pretty obvious head and shoulders there.
Yeah.
My triangle drawing could get a little bit better, but neckline was at like 61.50, I think I tweeted the other day.
The left triangle is skewed over to the right.
Yeah. That's kind of what we're looking at right there, something like that.
Yeah, it'll do. It'll do.
And then another thing that I've been watching too, and we've talked about this on past episodes, is bullish cross on the 10 and 20 EMAs with these Heikin-Ashi charts on the daily. You could see that we, last time I had an episode, I think it was a week ago. Let's see.
Heikin-Ashi charts, that's right. That's the one that shows all green and all red.
Yep. So yeah, they're like an averaged out candle. They have a way of formulating averages on them so that the open and close isn't necessarily a timestamp.
Candlesticks.
What's that?
You prefer to see Heikin-Ashi over traditional candlesticks?
Yes and no. I like to go back and forth. I mean, I don't really mess around with that.
You leave it in linear?
Yeah.
You see.
Okay,
you
so
do day trading.
What's that?
You also do day trading?
A little bit, yeah. It's mostly when there's opportunity to make an entry. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing this full time. I have a full-time job, and then I have various other projects too. So it's just I have to catch it.
Yeah.
But something else I was watching. We had this 10 and 20 cross of the EMA here, and then it looks like we're about to do that again. It's kind of behind this candle, but looks like we're about to cross bullish again there. And if you scroll back, you can see the implications of that. Historically, bullish cross there led us to a pretty good pop up, and that's been the case each time. So this time maybe we didn't have quite the percentage gains following that, but it's relatively reliable as far as a charting.
Bottom for a long time. This is going to be a stronger rise than the first one, which is more of a bounce down.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Head and shoulders is the middle point. If there ever were to be a middle point in a bull formation, this would be it.
Yep. Yeah, I just feel like we have that demand down here, and I'd like to see better volume, but that maybe that's still to come here in the next few days if we can pop through that.
Well, I actually posted a video or an image today just of the coin market cap volume. I mean, the volume, are you looking at the aggregate of Bitcoin over USD, or is it just a specific?
This is just specific to Bitfinex.
I see. So, I mean, I look at things more of a long-term trend. You know, I used to do day trading, but I didn't want to. I just didn't want to. You know,
Yeah.
There's a certain. It's like similar to a gambling addiction to continue day trading.
There's some mental capital at stake there.
Yeah. So looking at a longer trend, you know, the volume, the aggregate volume on cryptocurrency is still mammoth compared to where it was in 2017. I believe you can see just go into the either Bitcoin or the coin, the market cap up at the top, or global charts right there. Both will do. So that volume, and the volume that we have now, I mean, you know, it's well, go back even further, down in the middle, yeah, sure.
Are you looking for
more like a year back?
Okay.
So as you can see on these charts, you have a double bottom, but the volume that it's dropped to is still much higher than it ever was up until November.
Yeah, that's correct.
So that's every single day people are buying the dip. I mean, if you think about the billionaires, they're funneling 100 grand every day into crypto, right? The ones who really get it, the ones who really understand, you know, they're throwing 100 grand a day. So that's why we have, you know, even though it's low charts compared to the highs, it's still, what is the volume? $15 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, how long ago was it where the market caps finally breached $15 billion in value?
Would have been sometime right there in November.
No, the market cap.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, your point as well is also correct. Like, you know, we didn't really breach, you know, the 15 billion a day until November.
It was sometime mid-November that we did that.
Bull run, let's go!
But that's what it is. I mean, people are not selling. Well, there's a lot of sells and a lot of buys that are leveling this thing out. But the volume in this bull or in this bear market is still, you know, an exponential compared to what it was a year ago.
I agree. It's been remarkable, and that makes you think. You know, when we were back in December, we had, you know, what, $70 billion days, 65 billion there.
Yeah. Well, what was the volume a year ago? Right at the edge of that chart.
Let's see.
3. So this is, you know, 5 times bigger with a market cap that's only 2.5 times bigger. You see how that changes? So,
yeah, if you
is twice as big, but the volume flushing through it is 5 times as big, which is twice as much as the velocity. If you divide the volume by the market cap, you get velocity. So the velocity is twice as great as it was a year ago.
Pretty amazing. If you applied that 5 by to the volume of December last year or early January, looks like I'm on January there.
Yeah,
almost $66 billion. What's
so the
$300 billion in a day.
9%.
That'd be pretty amazing. If you were to see a $300 billion day, what are some markets that are trading $300 billion in a day?
Right.
You know, some asset classes that are doing that. But
I actually don't follow the fiat markets the same way I follow the crypto. I'll wait for the fiat markets to enter the crypto, and then I'll start looking at gold and you know, because I don't trust it. Here's